Hello, welcome back. I continue from where we stopped last. This is our second class on the online class, and what you are seeing majorly, I just wanted to show you some of the resources. Then another one is this. Okay, this is Microsoft Visual Basic 2008 by Michael Alvoson. I step by step, I downloaded this. I got this one downloaded, so I think can easily get it. I think some of them are in the library, so seeing this one is for educational purpose. Some of them in the library, you can easily get it from the library. Then this is another one by Beginning Microsoft Visual Basic 2008 by Sierra Willis and Bram Nielsen. Understand? So these are some of the, and there are quite a number of resources also that I downloaded online. You understand? You see, quite a number of them, so that be able to have good thing to do what we need to do. So now, before you, what the major thing you need in for this practical is your Visual Studio Basic 2008. I mean Visual Studio, the particular software called Visual Studio 2008. Visual Studio 2008. It is the major thing you need. In the Visual Studio 2008, there are quite a number of programming languages which are OOP. We have, I think, C#, C++, and then Visual Basic and some other one like that. But the major one that we are going to be working on, dealing with, is the VB, Visual Basic 2008. And so yeah, if you look at this, these are the basic system requirement. Before basic, these are the. I'm not saying this is what your system should have. I'm saying this is the minimum that your system should have. Windows Vista, of course, Windows Vista and Windows XP. They are no more involved Windows Server 2008. I don't expect any of you be having a system running this. Of course, the system in the laboratory are not running any of this except for practical, or maybe you are using them for what do you call it now? There are some debugging and some other things like that. Can't remember. I think something like that. There are still some things that still run maybe for security purposes on some of these Windows we are talking about. But for now, in the laboratory, we have Windows. We have Windows 10 in all our systems. So then this Microsoft Visual Studio 2008 is installed already. So if you are using it, you can easily get it from the lab. You understand? You can see the person in charge of it. Then the minimum hardware requirement, these are the minimum hardware requirement: 1.6 GHz CPU, 384 MHz RAM, and this is your display and your hard disk space. Recommended hardware requirement is there, CPU and some other thing. The available size of the hard disk space that is going to be used to be taken, instead is 2 GB. Then you have a CD or DVD ROM. The essence of that one is to be able to run the CD or the Visual Studio 2008. The Microsoft mouse or compatible pointing device, just the one I'm using. So these are the basic system requirement that is needed for you to install your Visual Studio 2008. For you to install Visual Studio 2008, of course. So the CD, so you need to install this thing. Just insert your CD and then follow the prompt. Just insert your CD and follow the prompt. Make sure you take note of what is happening very well, because this is your. There must be a report on how you can easily get your report. I shouldn't be saying that again in this your class, but I will just quickly recap that if you are writing a report, you are writing a report, you talk about your practical. Okay, practical 1. So title, what's the title of the practical? You put it there. These are the things your practical your report must contain. What is the aim of the practical? what is the objective. Of course, there will be at least 2, 3, 4 objectives of the practical. After the objectives of the practical, what are the things you are using? Equipment or requirement. Okay, equipment, let's say equipment. Then what are the procedure you follow? You understand? After your procedure, there are quite a number of questions may be asked. Then what are your observations? Then what are your conclusions? So I've explained many times to you that most of your title, of course, you find it in your practical report, your practical guide. Your title will be there in your practical guide, the aim will be there, the objectives will be there, the equipment will be there, the procedure to follow will be there in your practical guide. It will be there in your practical guide. So what we need to do is now let's remove this question. I don't think if there is question answer, then you come to your observation. So this observation they are the things you discover while doing the practical. What you discover may be different from what your friend discovered. You understand? Then your conclusion must be telling you that you are able to acquire this aim. You understand? Through these objectives, you are able to acquire this aim. So these are the things that is very, very necessary. You have to take note of this, that your practical report must entail. Then, of course, very important one that we usually forget is the date. What date? Today's date. The date you carry out the practical. It is very, very necessary. It is very, very essential. So the date, the practical number, the title, aim, objective, equipment, procedure, observations, then procedures, observations, then your conclusion. So these are very, very necessary. So from what I am explaining now, we are talking about looking at the installation of the system of the Microsoft Visual Studio 2008, and I just showed you the system required. So once your system already have this requirement, of course I'm expecting your system to have more than this requirement. So what you need to do is just to get the CD and then install it. So note every single thing that is asking you, because you will be writing out a report for this. You'll be writing out a report for this. So we are saying, what is your practical number for this one? This practical one, you know that. So what's the title? Installation of installation of Visual Studio. Software installation. Okay. Requirement. Let's say requirement and system requirement and installation of Visual Studio 2008. So what is the aim? The aim is our aim is to make students know how to. The aim is know the system requirement to install a Visual Studio 2008. So with the objective, what is the first objective? The first objective is to check to know the system configuration. The second one will be to know to install the Visual Studio 2008 software. You understand? So what do we need here? What we need is a functioning computer system, either a desktop or a laptop. Then here we need a Visual Studio 2008 installation disk. So these are so the procedure, of course. What procedure? How do you know the system requirement? This one has been taught. You've been taught this one. Just go to your menu. Excuse me, let me just go to your menu. Proceed. The first procedure is procedure to check the system requirement. The first thing is click start menu, to type ds diag, press enter. So write out the details of the configuration display, just something like this. Then DXDIAG. I have my system. So DXDIAG. Okay, let me go to the search. Let me close this one. And go to the search bar. DXDIAG. So I want to type DXDIAG. Something like that. Just click. Something like this we show. Just click. Then okay, requirement. Okay, as a correction here. Just ahead, and this one right out. Of course, I'm coming to correct it. So it's going to display and show you some of the requirements. We show you the configuration of the system. So that is part of it. So you have to write out the configuration of the system. So in this procedure, you write your observation. In the other procedure, you write your observation. The other procedure is the step-by-step in installing your software. The other procedure is the step-by-step in installing your software. So these are the system configuration you are expected to write out. Understand? Windows 10 Pro, system model, the BIOS setting, the processor, the memory, and every other things like that. So just write what you are seeing here, then exit. That is your observation for that one. So don't forget. Then the next one is procedure to install the CD. How do you install the software? Of course, you've been taught that one, so I don't need to be explaining that one. So do that one, and then that's going to be your first practical. Please don't forget to follow this pattern. It's very, very important. So I think it's okay like this. So we meet again next class. Okay, let me correct this. So write out the details. So we meet again. So you take care of yourself and then stay blessed. Don't forget, please, this online class is not actually replacing our home ground class. Of course, we are still meeting. We've met before. We are still meeting, and we are still going to meet. So this one is just to make reference to hit any time you want to recheck. You understand? Of course, this thing I'm still going to teach you in the on ground class. You understand? We are still going to do it directly in the laboratory.